Hey, this is Sunfire with Sunfire's Nest. I just wanted to demonstrate some of the Moonkin changes that we will be seeing in Mists of Pandaria. I'm starting off here in our Narcissus because it's pretty quiet, so there's not a whole lot of other people around. As you see now, I'm in my normal Worgen form. One of the most asked for changes, and the thing I will show first, is the new Moonkin form. This is the Glyph of Stars astral form, and it has actually already changed a little bit through beta patches. So there is hope that it may even change further, so what we see now may not be what we eventually get. So going into Moonkin form, you see I really don't change much. I just get very transparent, and you'll see some lightning and some sparkles. I feel very much like Edward from Twilight, so I'm not sure I like this effect, but at least they're putting some effort into it, besides just giving us ghost form. One of the best things about astral form is that we can now mount up as Moonkin. You'll see me here now. I'm in my wearing my Crusader's warhorse, and one of the neat things is it makes it very transparent. So not exactly like a shadow form. It's not that kind of dark color, but it is kind of transparent, which is neat. I think it'll definitely be interesting in PvP to have us in this astral form. As you see, it's an actual different buff on my bars. I'm not in Moonkin form. I'm actually in astral form. Alright, a couple of things I wanted to show you guys. And I'll just first show my talents. This is the new talent tree. You first pick your spec. You've got all your spec, which then assigns you the spells assigned to that spec. And I'll skip over to the glyphs page. They got rid of prime glyphs, and because of that, you don't see any glyphs really that for really any class that give you a flat DPS boost, because pretty much you had to always take those glyphs. So what's the point of having them if you're always going to take the same 3 glyphs? There really wasn't a whole lot of customization in the primes. So we have our majors and we have our minors. Right now for the majors, I have Glyph of Rebirth because I really had nothing else to use. I have Glyph of the Moon Beast, which is really cool. I'll show you that here in a minute. Allows us to basically heal while in Moonkin form. Glyph of Stampede, which allows us to stampeding roar in any form, which itself is going to just be a DPS boost because we won't be shifting out if we have to stampede. For minors, I have Glyph of the Stars, which you just saw. I have Glyph of the Orca, and I have Glyph of the Stag. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'll show you some of the other forms real quick. Glyph of the Stag, as you've seen before, is just this white stag that runs around, and people can ride you. I believe they do have to be in your party to ride you. I haven't checked that. I don't think I've had any random people ride me lately, for as bad as that sounds. So that's Glyph of the Stag. I do not have currently Glyph of the Tree, and I can do that here real quick if you'd like to see what it looks like to be in tree form. And we'll just overwrite Glyph of the Stag for now. If you notice, I'm level 86. I did level up. I guess you can't see because I'm rested, but I do need to have this new reagent to clear talents or glyphs, since I need to have Tome of the Mind. And as you see now, this clears a talent or a glyph, so you're going to be buying these. Are about 12 gold a pop. Hopefully inscriptionists or scribes can make them a little bit cheaper, because they are 12 gold a pop, and you'll need one to change a talent as well. So I'm going to swap out, and I now have tree form. You'll notice I now have tree form up here. That shifts me into this form. One of the things you got to notice with this form is it is not, it doesn't give me any special abilities. It just makes me a treant. Could I DPS in this form? Sure, I definitely could. That just, a reminder is I do not have my 10% spellcast bonus. So it doesn't make sense really to DPS in this form. But it is kind of neat, and I definitely can still heal in this form. So you may see healers using this because they normally, all their healing bonuses come from baseline unless they pop Incarnation. So it is potentially DPS form even if you wanted to, but you're sacrificing that 10% damage boost. So that is treant form. One of the cool things you have here, and I'll show you my talents again to see what I've picked. I will spec here in a minute in Incarnation to show you that. Wild Charge I really like. I initially thought I'd like the 15% bonus of feline swiftness that would be always baked in, but a Wild Charge is really handy because of the different ways you can use it, and I'll demonstrate it here in a second. I don't want to get into a whole tirade here in the video about the different talent trees and the different tiers. But right now for tier 60, which is our only DPS tier, Soul of the Forest really is the only way to go. As I showed you, I will show you in our Incarnation. And for some reason I still have Force of Nature. I don't know if that's because I had it when I transferred over, so I can also demonstrate that talent as well. Wild Charge is really neat because depending on the form you're in, it does different things. It can kind of be like a disengage, it can kind of be like a blink, it can kind of be like a normal charge. It does a lot of really cool things. So the first thing it can do here, and I'll apologize for clicking a lot, but I don't have a lot of things bound since I don't have my normal UI. In normal form, you actually fly to an ally's location, and it's pretty far distance. But watch the wings that pop out of my back when I do this. So I can definitely see that being handy in a lot of fights just to get out of somewhere really bad, and it gets you to a controlled location. Travel form is slightly different. You see I'm now a cat again because I left the stag, I took the stag glyph out. Travel form is kind of like a blink, and no, it doesn't break a stun. I mean, we can already break roots with disentanglement or being a Moonkin, and we can already you know, avoid polymorph. So I don't see us getting a full blink, but it does allow us to just jump ahead, which again I could see very handy if we are trying to get away from something in PvP. The other ones require to be in a form, and I'm not going to demonstrate the bear and cat forms just because they have not changed. They are the same as they are in live. And it looks like my keybounds have changed because I added in tree form. So I'm just going to take tree form back out for now. I'm going to put stag back in there. One thing to note is if you are resto and you pop Incarnation, that's when you get back to the current tree form, the big broccoli looking tree. So that is not gone, but that is still on a cooldown for the restoration druids. Alright, so going back into astral form, or Moonkin form as you see me here. This one you got to be in combat with, so let's see if I can just get in combat. And then you jump back like that. So it's basically the same as a disengage. When you're in combat, it allows you to jump back from a location. Really handy when you couple that with things like Ursol's vortex. I'll show you Ursol's vortex here. What it does, it's still a little bit buggy, so I don't even know if demonstrating the exact mechanics of it and how it works will work very well, because it's still got a little bit of delay to it. But Ursol's vortex got a big reticle like this. You pop down. Now everything in that reticle is going to be snared by 50%, and the second that they step out of it, they're supposed to be sent right back to the center, and that happens once, and then they'll continue to be snared after that. It's a little buggy because they don't get thrown back until about this far away. So they still need to kind of work on the range. Either the graphic is not really representative of the distance, or the distance is just too far right now. So that still needs to be worked on quite a bit. So that's Ursol's Vortex, one of the new abilities that we have. The next thing I'm going to do here real quick is I'm just going to show a standard DPS rotation. A lot of things have changed. The fact that Starfall comes with every lunar eclipse now. Nature's Grace automatically applies every time you hit eclipse, which is actually, it's nice, but it's going to be a little bit different for our rotation when we start, because we can't start a fight in eclipse necessarily, because if it happens the second, if Nature's Grace comes up only when I hit eclipse and it takes some time to do our pull, I'm not going to have Nature's Grace when we actually start the fight. So we'll probably want to start one cast before Eclipse. So we hit that one cast on the pull that's not eclipsed, and then we go into our normal rotation having Nature's Grace. So right now you see after I threw that Star Surge earlier, I am one cast into going towards solar. Going towards solar, yes. So I'm just going to go back and forth here once to show you. And I'm also going to bring out trees. Treants have changed a bit. I don't know if they're current. They scale better, but right now I don't think their DPS gain can compete with Soul of the Forest. Soul of the Forest basically gives you 20 energy every time you leave an eclipse. So it makes you that much closer to the next eclipse. It's kind of like 4-piece tier 12. And it's just so amazing. It's really hard to have anything compete with that right now. So right now I'm just going to do is just a standard rotation. I'm not going to do a normal range training dummy because these are level 90 bosses now, which means I will miss. If you look here, my hit chance dropped quite a bit as well because I'm level 86, and my haste and my crit have dropped quite a bit because as you level up, you need more of each stat to get 1%. So at level 85, I was hit capped at about 16%, but you see at level 86, it's not near enough. My crit about halved as well, or dropped about 2%. Crit is a lot lower on MOP than it is in beta. We get a lot less crit from intellect. So you'd only increase the spell hit by 8.41%. I believe it's a lot higher. I had about 20%-ish crit on live. When I came over, I was exactly 11.99% with the same exact stats. So we lost some there. Mastery, we do get a lot better effect from Mastery because it's now 2.5% per point of Mastery. The base Eclipse was lowered from 25 to 20, but we get more per point of Mastery. One thing to point out, there's also a new buff that's the Might by Paladins gives, and Monks will also give it, which gives 5 mastery points. So if you think about that, that's really giving us a 12.5% damage boost in Eclipse because it's 5 full value points. So this would be 18.17% if we had it. So that's going to be actually a very, very powerful DPS buff. And Mark of the Wild now, while it does give us intellect, which is also power, it doesn't give us stamina. So for tanks, 5% or 5 mastery is a great mitigations tool. All right, so here we go. I'm in Moonkin form. Sometimes I still forget because I see myself in my normal gear. So I'm going to go ahead and start casting here and kind of show you, and I'll show treants as well, and you'll see how they've changed. Things you can see here that are not part of being a Moonkin, obviously. I have Cutting of the Cruel, and I have the Variable Pulse Lightning Capacitor. So you will see Shadow Bolts pop out of me, and you'll see Lightning Bolts pop out of me. That's just Trinket procs. And I also have the Wrathrak, the Poisonous Mind, so you may see some poison going out. Again, those are not because of the spec. Now, I just got out of an Eclipse. I was talking a little bit. I waited a little bit too long. But now I'm going to pop Celestial Alignment. You see both Eclipses pop up. I do that. It resets my energy to 0, but I can now put up both dots. Starfall instantly came off cooldown, and I can Star Surge, and Star Surging is going to refresh both dots. From the looks of it, it looks like right now we'll get better damage Starfiring in this effect, but obviously once we leave it, we'll have to go back to Wrath and get back to Lunar. So that's Celestial Alignment. It basically every 3 minutes allows you to force yourself into both Eclipses. The nice thing about that is, again, it allows us to say, I need to be in Eclipse right now. It's great for a wipe, coming back from a wipe. I hit Lunar Eclipse, and you'll see that I also had Starfall instantly come back up. One thing you may notice is Star Surge is not proccing nearly as often now, and that is because they've kind of changed how Star Surge works. So if you look at, or Shooting Stars works, if you look at Shooting Stars, let's see, it'd be right here. You look at Shooting Stars, and it's now a 20% chance off crits of your dots only. So that is going to scale very much with haste and crit, and it's a little bit different than it is now, which is a 4% chance per dot tick, which is what we have now in live. So Shooting Stars has been reworked. It does the same thing, but it's been reworked. One of the nice things, Lunar Shower has been changed. I can get 3 stacks of Lunar Shower by hitting Sunfire 3 times. You see it's critting for up to 23k. It does 11k per application. The annoying thing is I have to keep spamming it to keep that stack up. The original Lunar Shower, you could just move and keep that stack. That no longer works. The nice thing is I can spam this till the cows come home, and I do not leave Solar Eclipse. So there is that benefit. Alright, and one of the things I did forget to show you, so I'll go into both Eclipses real quick to show you, is the change to Hurricane. So Hurricane not only does a lot more damage, but they've updated the graphic. This is kind of similar to the one on live with the little tornado things, but the cloud looks much, much different. I think it looks very cool up there. And that was just a NPC running by. There actually not is a cat in the clouds or anything. All right. So let me show you just real fast. I will go into Lunar, and I'll show you Astral Storm. Astral Storm is just the lunar equivalent of Hurricane. With the changes to the spell coefficients, mainly the fact that Wild Mushroom has been nerfed considerably, and Starfall has been nerfed by about half, but Honestly, with as often as it's up, I'm okay with that, especially since it's always going to be up in lunar. But basically, it's really forcing us to use Hurricane more. Hurricane was buffed almost 300%. It was a 240% increase on the damage. So that's considerable. So Hurricane definitely will be in a rotation. Now you see that the icon has changed. I think it kind of looks like a tornado there now. I still don't know how it's a hurricane. If I look really close, I think I can see Dorothy Gale in there. But alright, Astral Storm. You notice that the only real difference as right now is the vortexes here. The tornadoes are a blue color, but the clouds are still kind of that arcane looking form for both versions. So that's the new Hurricane Astral Storm. Mushrooms haven't changed at all. I'm just kind of looking over to see if there's anything I've missed. As I said, I can Stampeding Roar now in here. I can also rejuve myself in form. I can Healing Touch, and I can Tranquility while in Moonkin form. The other nice thing that you don't even need a Glyph for is you can now res and combat res in Moonkin form, which means you don't have to shift out to do a combat res, which will be, again, a little bit of a DPS increase for you since you're not burning that global cooldown. Last thing to show you here would be Incarnation. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to have to change talents. Right now, the way it works in beta, as soon as I swap talents, it's going to clear everything out for me once I spec to primary talents. So in here, I'm just going to pick just the one right now because I don't need to show anything else again. Incarnation, and I hope this isn't final, Incarnation just turns us into a giant Moonkin. It also causes us to use energy twice as fast in or out of an eclipse. So as you see I'm casting here, you'll see how it works, and you'll see how quickly I swing between eclipses. So let me just show that here real quick. And unfortunately, even in astral form, it does give us the standard Moonkin. One thing I want you to see is the animations actually changed. They're using the real Moonkin animations for this. So the casting animations have changed quite a bit from what we see in live. So here we go. It looks like they've actually changed it. I'm not even a giant Moonkin anymore. That's disappointing. That must have just recently changed. Because in the last build, you were about as big as a house when you were in. Oh, that would be because I didn't cast it yet. I just cast Moonkin form. Hold on here. And since I don't have glyphs in this form, I'm an actual Moonkin. So there's Incarnation. Chosen Realm. So I apologize for that. It's early in the morning and I'm still not thinking very well. Here we go. Here is Incarnation. And as you see, I am a giant Moonkin. You also see how quick the energy goes.
That spell isn't ready yet.
So yeah, as you see, it uses energy quite a bit, and it's just a giant Moonkin form, which is nice because you are moving eclipses very fast, and that's going to be the name of the game in Mists of Pandaria. You're not going to be wanting to sit in one eclipse like you do, even for cleaving, I don't think, because they've really increased the DPS of Arcane Storm, and with Starfall being up all the time, I don't even think we're going to see us doing a lot of solar cleave. So it is a DPS increase. One of the biggest DPS increases for it is it allows to have a much higher uptime of both dots. One of the things you may have noticed here is I've left Solar Eclipse, but I still have Sunfire. Sunfire will stay up on my bars until I hit Lunar. Now it's not going to have the Eclipse bonus because I'm not in an Eclipse, but it will stay up until I hit Lunar. When you're in an eclipse and you cast the corresponding nuke, it extends the duration of Sunfire or Moonfire. So when I go into Lunar Eclipse here and I start casting, I'm going to put up Moonfire, you'll see that it simultaneously will be on the boss with Sunfire. They can both coexist now, which couldn't happen in Cataclysm. So with Incarnation, we even get more uptime of both of them because we can get to the eclipses faster, and we have basically 100% uptime on dots. That being said, haste devalues Incarnation because once I can get to that point outside of Incarnation, Incarnation is really not doing nearly as much for me. So I'm going to just demonstrate how both dots can exist, and you'll see that as I Starfire, it's going to reset the Moonfire dot. There's my Sunfire. That's not going to extend because I'm not in solar, so it's not going to extend my eclipse, or extend my dot. But now you'll see I put up a Moonfire, they're both up, and as I Starfire, it's resetting that dot every single time to a full 18 seconds. So that's really handy. So we can actually get double dot uptime for quite a bit. So that'll again make haste very important. I think Mastery is going to be now very important again because of the 2.5% instead of 2%. They're trying to add some more value there as well. So that's what I've got for you here. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet me. I'm at Sunfire's Nest. Feel free to ask on the blog, which is www.owlkin.org. I'll put the links to those at the end of the video here. And thanks for checking this out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.